Live on YouTube. Hello YouTube, this is my first YouTube live and I'm getting ready to do a tutorial. Welcome, welcome. This is Jen with Woodcraft Blueprints. Today we are cutting out and making a small, a 2-foot wood bunny shape. It's super cute and it's really easy. So first I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut out a tracer. I made these last year and my tracer got ruined because it's just paper and I did not put it on cardboard like I should have or something heavy duty. So anyway, my paper got destroyed, so I'm making a new one and I'll show you how I do that. And then we'll go ahead and cut it out, okay? So this is the PDF and I made it in block poster. It literally, you can get this, by the way. This instructions for these are on my blog, woodcraftblueprint.com. You can search in the search bar bunny or Easter and this will pop up. But it's just 2 pages like this. So it's almost 2 foot, but not quite 2 foot. Hi, Jennifer. So yeah, and then this tracer is in there. The instructions in the tracer are in there. Also, if you comment 2 foot bunny tracer, you'll get the link emailed directly in your DMs. Okay, so let me grab my tape here. So a tracer just means a shape that I use to trace onto wood. I do this all the time. I get things from like the Dollar Tree to use as tracers. Like I got a drawer of like all kinds of things. But sometimes I'll draw myself and that's what this is. So it's just a hand drawn thing. So when you go to print this PDF off, actually on that first page it shows you what it's going to look like once you print it off. So you just take these 2 pages and I'm going to tape them together. And if you're going to make a lot of these, I recommend making a template, and not just any template, but like something like plywood that you can keep and it's kind of heavy duty, will stand up to the elements for a while. So I just taped it, that's all I did. I'm gonna grab my scissors and cut, just cut the shape out. This is perfectly sized for a 1x6. So a 1x6 is actually 5.5 inches wide. So this is 5.5 inches wide perfectly. So it is easy peasy. Well, good for you, Denise. You get to hang out today then. All right. I always let the black line show a little bit so that I can see where I'm at because I don't want to cut into the black. Same thing when I'm actually cutting it out. Okay. All right, so go ahead and cut this bottom off. You could actually leave that bottom on if you wanted to make it just a tad bit longer. This would, oops, it's not my tape measure. That's my Scotch tape. That's 21 inches. So you can make it a tad bit longer if you wanted, or you can cut this off and make it true to size. Okay, so this bunny is actually 19 and a half inches tall. So we got that part done. Yeah, all you gotta do is just tape it together, cut it out, and you're ready to go. Alright, now for the wood, like I said, all you need is a 1x6, which is what I have here. I need to cut that down to size. So I'm gonna cut it at 19, I'm gonna cut it at 20 inches. So however tall it is, that is like that. And then we'll trace it on. Now since I'm on video and for you guys to be able to see it together, I will use a permanent marker. Although I normally just use my pencil, but I use my marker so you can kind of see. I'm just making sure I'm kind of even here, not like super crooked. And I'm just going to go ahead and trace this on. Oops. Just make sure you don't move your tracer around while you're tracing it. And that's another reason why I recommend making a plywood template that has some weight to it so that this isn't like moving around when you're trying to trace on it. I mean, if you're just making a couple, but if you're gonna make like 10 or a dozen, then I would make a template. Oops. All right. See towards the bottom here, it just kind of veers off like that. This matches up, this is a tad bit wider than this. Usually there's a little bit of settings on your printer, like scale, print entire page or fit page, so it could be off just a little bit. But if it is a little bit wider, you're just going to kind of like ease into that, make that curve. And when I'm done cutting, I'll sand that so that it actually looks a lot better. All right, so let's go ahead. You can use a bandsaw for this or a scroll saw. I don't know, the jigsaw would not be my first choice, but either a bandsaw or a scroll saw. Now, on my blog post, I did use a bandsaw for this. And when I did, you have to make relief cuts. But today, I'm going to use a scroll saw, so I don't need relief cuts. I'll just turn the wood as I need to. All right. And something else too, I probably should have traced it on the other side. You see how this wood kind of has a little bit of a cup to it here? Like that. Normally, I would actually trace on here so that it's kind of steady. But this board, see, you can see this here, it kind of rocks a little bit because of that cup, but it's not bad. I can deal with that. All right, so I got my scroll saw. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this out. inch arm, so I almost had to stop there. I got to reposition so I don't hit that arm there, but. Okay, you see how I went off my line here? It's because I knew I had to marry this curve and here a little bit. So sometimes when you're, cutting things out, you go off the line a little bit just because you gotta kind of make a curve smoother. April says, is the saw controlled with a foot pedal? No, it's just I can't really say it very well. It's just an on and off switch. So on and off. There are foot pedal ones and you can get like an attachment for them, but I always just run it at the same speed. So what else was I gonna say? Oh, you know how I was just saying how it's like cupped this way? Had I had it like this, there would be less vibration. I was kind of fighting it in some spots because the blade, you know what I mean, it's going up and down, so it's kind of rocking this. So that's why it's another tip when it's cupped this way, have it on the table to minimize that rocking. It just makes it easier on you. Okay, all right, so I got my shape cut out. Now I'm gonna give it a sand, and I'm also, really want to smooth this off, this transition here. I mean, it looks pretty good, so not bad. And I'm gonna sand all of my marker off as well. So I'm just gonna use my orbital for this. If you have an edge sander as well, you could do that. But I'm going to just use my orbital really quick. Might be a little loud, FYI. easy, okay? Now, the bunny is not going to just sit here by itself. We need some kind of a base for it. So I would do like a 2x3 or a 2x4 base that we're gonna screw through that and then attach to this. Hi, Justy. So what I was going to use was, oh yeah, I had some scrap wood here. And this is already stained. It was from something else, I forget what. So I'm just gonna cut a piece off of this that I can use. But I'll go ahead and I'm gonna give this guy, we're gonna paint stain him a little fun spring color. And I was thinking, this is just the fun part. Either robin's egg blue or I wanted to do a pink. So fire coral. I don't know. I think I just really like this one. I think I'm gonna do that one. I'm gonna make more later, so I've got plenty of other opportunities to do different colors. So let me grab. I'm gonna do a paint stain, so I'm gonna get baby wipes to apply the paint with. And also, I'm always put gloves on. Actually, I don't need that today. Let me grab a piece of cardboard here. Okay, so let me get these gloves on and then I can paint stain this. Actually, I called a girl because it's going to be pink, so I'm just going to call the guy. And there are all different kinds of ways you can finish it too. I'm not very good at like drawing faces on, so I'm not going to do that. Although, you can. Actually, I did make a stencil for it last year of like a little bunny face, but I gotta say, I didn't totally love it. So I didn't do it on everything. And actually, this is a brand new color that I need to open up without cutting myself. There we go. Okay. I'm going to do the front and the back of this. Oh, this is really bright. Let me get my sleeves up. All right, so just got this wet baby wipe, and I'm just going to get this paint in. Oh yeah, this is bright. This is a fun spring color. This color would be nice. You could add some like floral embellishments to this bunny. Matches your sweater. Yeah, that's probably why I like it so much. All right, I'm gonna do the sides too. The sides is the tricky part because the end grain likes to soak up a lot of paint. So get that around the ears. This might have to stay in my wood shop and be a decoration in the background. And there's also instructions for this on my blog, woodcraftblueprint.com, and if you search bunny, this one should pop up. But you can get the tracer for this as well on there. And I've seen the past week a bunch of my members inside my membership have been making these. I had one lady made a dozen of them in different spring colors. It was really cute. All right. It just kind of has that nice washed look. It's not a solid color. I really like this paint being opaque like this because you can still see the wood grain. It's just really cute. Okay. So I need to let that dry and then I'll cut my base down because the base does not need to be this long. This is 5.5. So my base would need to be 7.5 to 8 inches. I'll cut it at 8 inches. pencil. Okay, so this would be 8 inches right here. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. All right. Glasses on. You see how it's just a really, I'm gonna try to say sharp edge. I'm gonna take my sander, kind of round it, just give it a little bit better of a look. And I distressed the edges a little bit. Stacey says, what grit are you using? 120. Let me double check that. Yeah, I always use 120. Pretty much, oh, there's nothing in there. It just fell out. I pretty much use 120 for most everything. It just seems to be the perfect balance, so I don't have to be switching sandpapers around. If I need something kind of aggressive, that works fine. And then I don't use something to finish sand, I just use that. You will hear some people say, you know, start with 100, then use 160, and then finish with 200. But like, I'm not going to switch my sandpapers 3 times. I just use one that is kind of middle of the road and just go with it. So, all right, so we got that. Now, there's different ways to attach this. What I'm going to do is actually just put screws through the bottom, so up to the top, and then put it in there, in the bunny. You could like glue something on the back, like a wood block if you wanted. So those are 2.5-inch screws. I think I'll just use 2-inch screws. Beverly says, caught my first live with you. Yay. Well, hello, Beverly. So a 2-inch screw, I always kind of double check that. That's how much I'll get. And I think that's enough for that because it's really lightweight. So let me make a couple marks on there so that they are even. Let's see here. Maybe I'll go, all right, first of all, I need to be 3.5, so I do 1 3/4 to be in the center. I just make little crosshairs about where I need to put the screws in at. So 1 3/4, and then let's do 2 inches, and from the end, 2 inches. All right, so I've made little crosshairs here, so I know where to put the screws in at. And need a screws to put in there. I'm using trim head screws, my absolute favoriteest screws to use. Looked a little bit bent. That was kind of weird. Nope, it's fine. Must be seeing things. That went in crooked. What I don't want them to do is go in crooked, so I'm actually going to move it over a little bit. Turn this drill down a little bit. Now I'm going to go just until that screw kind of peeks through, and then I'll stop. Just so I can help get my pine board lined up to it. barely have the screws peeking through there. You know, I might need to use 2.5 inch because there's not going to be a whole lot going into there, but we'll just see here. All right, so I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to get it kind of lined up. I haven't done this for a whole year, so I'm a little bit rusty. But basically, I just want to make sure it's even and that these screws are going to go in the middle here. So I kind of press in like that. Double check that. Okay. If you hear wood cracking, you're probably coming out the side of your pine one by, so you better stop. All right, make sure I'm lined up here. All right, so there's that. Get a little test, and that's fine, just 2 screws. You could add another one if you wanted to, but I really don't see a need for that. So, or like I said, you could glue a glue block on the back of it to give it extra support. So like, let's see if I have something. Like a 1x2, something like that. If you cut it, and you could put a screw in the back and then staple it to here, that will also give it support as well. So yeah, there's a couple different ways that we can attach to the base. So just whatever you think is easier for you. But these are still nice and lightweight. You really don't have to be too concerned about strength for that matter. So anyway, ta-da. So he's still a little bit wet, or she, I should say. So I need a little bit more dry time. Let's see a blob of stain here. But yeah, so that's all I have for you today. I just wanted to hop on and just cut this out, just kind of show the basics of it. It's very easy. I'm going to make more of these. I can post some pictures when I'm done. It's probably going to be tomorrow. But yeah, this is just a really fun, cute Easter craft, and this can be finished off, like I said, draw a face on, tie some raffia on it, put floral stuff on it, embellishments, just all kinds of fun stuff. So it's like, it's a blank canvas. Basically, it's a blank bunny canvas that you can do a ton of things with. So yeah. Anyway, all right. So if you guys have any questions, I can try to answer them in the comments. If not, thank you for joining me, and I will